whenever you create a document as well, so you follow the same approach. You just right click, go for new, and then just get to new document. So this is one way, or else at the top here, just below, when you can get to file, just click on new, and here also you have all these options. So either way is fine. You can just come over here, click on this particular new document, or else select any empty area, just go to new, and within that new just select your document. So once you select your document, there are various templates here. So I mean this one used for iPhone and so on, iPhone lines, then after this iPhone portrait mode and so on. So on that particular line, say for example I want to choose a blank document, and then it asks me to choose the input. Input means the report, whatever report uh, I mean data you want to visualize or you want to display at one place, right? So those things you need to show here. So for that, right, what I'm doing is, before, I mean, I just create a document or dashboard. So I require an input. What is that input means? That input is this one, add a data set. Add a data set means a report basically. So you need to just add a report here, right? So once you come over here, here you can just add it, or else you can just, while opening up a document editor itself, you can just add it. Either way is fine, but we don't have any report, assume for a minute. So for which I want to create a report to use on my document or dashboard. So for which I just get into new report, just click on this, and then in the report, say for example I want to see I just go to products, and then I want to identify the different suppliers and what is that items that particular suppliers, and then apart from that, so under that I just want to analyze that specific thing. So on that item I want to get a few more stats, as in like what is a unit sold for that, and what was a unit cost, and then what is the unit price we had, and then what is, like, say a revenue, or say what is a profit, and so on. So in this way you can have like whatever you want on a report. So in this way you just create a report actually. So on this particular report, so I'm doing, say for example supplier some analysis, and on a similar lines, so you can have one particular report as an input, or as said yesterday, right, you can have multiple as an inputs to create a document, for which you just right click, then go for new, and within that new, so just get to report, then click on OK. And once you do it, so you just come to say attributes, and you want to say analyze say, I mean, say other information, say for example, so you want to analyze, say region wise, say for example what is employee sales, or region wise you want to see a monthly sales and profit, so that also you can just do it. So for which I'm creating a, say for example another report, so which gives you region wise monthly analysis. So this report I am just giving a name, region wise, say monthly sales and profit. So I just created, say, another report. So in this way you can have multiple reports as well. So all these particular reports you can just select at one instance as well. So you just need to just right click, and once you do that right click, just go for document. So once you go for document, so it shows up various particular options here, out of which select the blank document and then click OK. So once you select that particular blank document, click OK, then it shows, okay, where is your input? Input here is your reports. So where are your reports that you want to use as an input, from which, right, you can just go to demo documents. Okay guys, 1 minute, I'm getting a call. Yeah, so now if you look at this specific thing while creating up a document, it will ask you to browse a report, for which, right, what you can do is you can just go to your source where your reports are there, and then basically at a time you want to select only one, then you want to add another one, that is also fine. Or you just click on cancel and then you can add it. I'll show you both the ways. So you just select your report and automatically that report gets added to your dataset section. So this is where your particular report gets added. And what you need to do is, for example, for your this particular document, whatever you want to create, you want additional report also, additional one report or multiple reports. To add that multiple or like one single report, right? So again, what you can do is at the top, you get an option here under the data menu. So you need to just get into data menu. In the data menu, once you click on data menu, it asks you just look at this particular option, add dataset. Add dataset means add your report. So just click on that particular add dataset and then get to demo documents which we have created. Already we have added supplier analysis. You want to add another report. If there are multiple, you can select control and select all that particular documents, sorry, all that particular reports and click open. Then it gets added here. So in this way, you can add here number of reports in a document, number of reports in a document. So, but again, there will be some performance. So that we'll discuss at the last session, performance tuning or the best practices to prepare a dashboard or document. So this is now your document page, and this particular document page, whatever you see here, right? So it has various sections here. So to start with, right? So I mean, so you have a page header, document header, detail footer, document footer, page footer. So there are like 7 different sections you have in a document editor. And first thing, so if you look at this particular thing here, so this height and width also you can just adjust. I mean, you need to say how do you do in a Word document as such, right? The same thing you have to do here. You want to increase some, say for example, space here. So just click on that particular plus symbol. You want to increase the height of this, and then basically so how much size you want, you can just adjust by selecting, I mean, at your like, I mean, whatever control it comes up, and then you can just drag it. So in this way, basically, you can just adjust your height and width of your document. And apart from that, basically now just try to focus here, try to concentrate here. So what are these particular sections, or where we place our particular grids whenever we want to do some analysis? So where I have to place my grid? So all those things we'll just see. So under this particular 7 sections, every section has some specific purpose of which, right? So this particular detailed header section. So this detailed header section is a key section in which you place all your reports. So where you place your reports in case of a documents means you place in the detailed header section, or this detailed header section is also called as a body section. It is called as a body section. So in the document, there are various sections, and under that various sections you are going to place your grids, be it one, be it a number of grids, all your grids. In which section you placements, you place them in the detailed header section, which is also called as a body section, So how to place a grid means, so it is just a simple drag and drop. So you need to say, for example, simply drag and then place at your desired, I mean, location, like how much left you want, right? So once you place it, then again you can just try to adjust them as well. So you just try to place this, and your grid, when whatever grid you have selected, right? So that has been placed now in the detailed header section. So once it got placed in the detailed header section, right? So now if you look at this particular grid, the height, basically if you look, so you want to minimize this particular height, one way you can do like this manual thing. So you can just how much height you want or how much width you want, right? That you can just adjust manually by referring up this particular red color dots actually. So apart from that, like you want to increase, I mean, based on that number, like this should be 7, width should be 7, height should be 10. You want to follow some standard, that also you can do using this particular property list. We'll get there, but as of now, so this is one way to add a report into your document. So you just drag that particular report and then just place into your detailed header section. So this is one way. Okay. But say for example, in this particular report, if you look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns I have, but on my report, I need to show only item wise what is unit sold. I want only 2 columns from that report to display. So instead of placing this report and deleting 5 columns, select each column and then deleting, right? So let me tell you, say for example, I just place this particular grid and then on my report I want to see only item wise what are my units sold. So now for which, right, you just right click here, remove from grid, select here, remove from grid. In this way you have to do 5 times actually. So instead of that, when uh, a report has 20 columns and then you want to use only 2 or 3 columns on your report, so there is other way as well. So one way drag and drop works fine, or else at the top here, just I mean beside your data menu you have an insert menu. So in your insert menu you do have an option called as grid, insert grid, then just it is going to just place your grid. Okay, this is what your grid that it gets placed, and here what you need to do is, okay, as I said, right, you want to see only, for example, item wise sales. So just drag your item, and apart from item, so say for example, as I said, you want to see unit sold. So just try to place that particular column here, drag it, and so just drag it, and then wherever you see this particular symbol, plus symbol, right, so just release that. So your particular metric is going to be placed on your grid. So this is what gives you item wise unit sold. So to add, to place your grid, there are two ways. One is you just drag your grid and then place it, or the other way you can do is you can get into insert, then select grid and place only selective columns. So based on a need, say you want all columns in a report to be displayed, you just drag and drop. If your say for example report size is very big and from that you want to have only selected columns on your report, then in that particular case you go for the second approach, that is insert, then place your grid, just place at which particular location you want, and then just, I mean, you should not get this particular border like this, it is in edit mode. You need to just click outside and it shows this particular red color dotted lines at which you can just try to drag and then release it. Okay, this is how you add grid to your report. So is that to your document? Is that point clear, guys, or any question? Guys, any questions on that? How to add grid?
Clear.
Okay, fine. And now moving on to the say other thing. So you have a detailed header section wherein you place your grids, and we have seen how to, I mean, add that particular grid. So let me add, say for example, one grid, and then from there we'll discuss. So I want to have same, say item wise unit sold, and then what is that profit on each item I want to get in, for which I'm just trying to get into insert, and then basically I want to get into that control grid, and then just place your grid here. And once you place your grid, in my grid I just want to place some columns, say for example, so just try to drag your item and then place here, and similar to item, so I want to place a unit sold and then I want to analyze the profit as well. So just try to drag here and then just release here. So then that particular KPI gets added on a similar lines. So what you can do is select your profit and then just release here. So now you have created your particular document, one basic document. You just created a grid, and Fine, you have placed your required columns what you want to analyze. So once you create a document, what are the different ways you can execute a document? Means at the top here, you look at this specific thing. Currently we are in design view, so hence this option is disabled. Apart from design view, you have, just try to see, you can run this document in a PDF, or you can run in a HTML, or else you can run in a Flash. You can run in a Flash. So generally, when in case of documents, right, so mostly, right, you are going to execute that document in the PDF view. In the PDF, as we discussed yesterday, documents will be static, which helps in generating statements, in most of the occasion. So on that lines, you are going to run this in a PDF, and generally whenever we see dashboards, some of whatever we said yesterday, visualizations, right? So that visualizations, right, are going to show up in your Flash. So to execute a document, there are three ways. So one is a PDF, the other one is HTML, like how you see any HTML page, actually any web page you open, right? So you want to see data in that view, you go for HTML, or else you have something called Flash view. So this particular Flash view provides some interactivity, and then it supports different widgets or visualizations for which this particular Flash view will be using. But now when it comes to this one, so PDF view, so just try to run this particular report for an example. And once you execute it, I think so we don't have PDF, huh? God. Okay, so now if you look at this particular document here, so whatever information you could see here, right? So it shows up in a grid format, and then as we have many different items, it shows up like what is that particular item sold, and then if you look at this one, so it shows up that same information in 7 different pages. Actually at the top you can see page number and so on. Right. So basically what I want to do is I want to provide some naming actually. So item wise, what is this particular heading of this particular thing, right? I just want to add at the top in each and every page at the top, I want to see some information. So what is this report? What is this? I mean, mainly the purpose of designing this particular report, say item wise profit analysis, or say I mean profit analysis, whatever you want. So just you have to provide that particular name, and towards your right hand side you provide some page numbers on each and every page. So when you want to analyze such information, right, so what is that you do is you are going to change your document design. So whatever document you have created, right, so that particular document we shall just try to modify it, or else we'll be using different sections, that's it. So each section has certain significance. Now as we place grid in the detailed header section, so there are other particular sections which have its own significance, out of which I'm just getting into say page header section. In the page header section, so whatever you place in the page header, from the name itself, page header means on each and every page at the top it is going to display. So whatever information you have in the page header, that gets repeated in each and every page at the top. Say for example, you want to place the title, like say for example, item wise profit, right? So you want to find out, so item wise profit or sales, or you want to do simple profit analysis and so on. So you want to just have some title which should display in each and every page as a heading. So for which, right, again you need to get into the same thing. A lot of options will be there under the insert menu. So just get to that particular insert menu and then choose this particular option text. So just get to insert, choose text, and then place at which particular place you want to place in. So just try to place that particular text box and then write your whatever information you want. Say for example, I want to do, say, item wise, say for example, profit analysis, and this particular profit analysis, right? So how you want to display, whether you want to adjust some font, you can just do it. You want to make this one particular bold, and you want any background color at the I mean any background color you can have, you can just use this particular background color. You want that particular font to be displayed in a different shade, you can just apply that as well. So whatever you place in your page header, that particular information gets repeated in each and every page at the top. So let's try to see that one. So just try, come over here and then save your document first, and then just try to run your document. So now if you look at this one, you could see item wise sales, and that information, right, basically you see in each and every page at the top, item wise profit analysis, item wise profit analysis. Okay, this is how you are going to define your page header. So one thing what you do in a page header means you are going to place uh, your title of your document. That is one thing. Apart from title, say you want to find out that page number, which page you are, right? When you scroll down, which page you want to see that one. For which, what you do is you go to insert and then just insert a text, and then what you do is, so that particular text you are going to place here. So you just type a static text like say page. So what is this particular page indicates means, okay, so you do have a page, and then I just want to highlight it with a different color. Okay, this is a page. What I want is page some number actually. So what is that particular page number you are in, right? So that specific thing I need to get in, for which you need to go to insert, and instead of text control, there is a different control called as auto text. So what is difference between text and auto text means? Text means it is a static, means whatever you write in, the same information gets repeated. So item wise profit analysis, only that information. Page means page, page, page. On every top of the page it shows up. But auto text is a dynamic text which is going to evaluate some value. So here I am selecting a page number. So once I do that particular page number, so what it does basically is it is going to give page, and beside that what is a number like page 1 or 2 or 3 and so on. So just let me save this one. So once you do it, for you, you don't get a problem. Here we don't have that software in the remote desktop. I'm facing an option actually. Okay, fine. So I'll just ask that admin to do it. So meanwhile, for today, right? I think we have only limited privileges to work on this system. Fine. So once you have that, I mean, Adobe, right? So basically you can just run it and directly it shows up. So here, yeah, every time you need not close it and then do it actually. So directly it opens for you. So here, let me do it. Okay. So now, once it gets executed, this is what you get it, page one, and then you just scroll to page three, page four, in which page you are, right? When it has multiple pages, like you just try to understand in which page you are actually. And then on a similar lines, so what you can do, what else you can place here means, so in the document, right? So generally you try to place the title and then you try to place that particular page and what is that number, and you want to see the total pages like page 1 OF of total pages, for which also in order to display OF off, right, you can just off is a static, right? So what you can do is you can just try to place that particular text box control, try to I mean you can just try to uh, adjust this particular height so that all this particular wording remains same as per the font, everything. So you can just, how to do that I'll show you now in a minute. So then after this insert, once you get into auto text, there only you have an option called total pages. Total pages means it is going to calculate, and for this example it has 7, and if you place another grid below this one, right, then it shows that many pages, page 1 of 30, page 2 of 30, page 3 of 30, and so on. So and you want to have all this particular, be it static or be it auto text or dynamic text, you want everything to be of same height and so on, for which what you need to do is select that particular control. So and then just come towards your left hand side, and within that you have say data set, and apart from data set there is another section called property list. Select your property list and then just scroll down, and within this particular scroll, right, so you need to adjust this one. Okay, what is that particular height, right? So that text box height, right? So whatever it is there, so just select that one, same thing. So whatever you want, 0.2, you can just take that one. So I want 0.264. So what you can do is select the other one, just come over here, look at the height is 0.2. So just try to place that one. And once you do it, you want to do the same thing for the other one, OF off as well. So just come over here, it has the same thing. Then the pages, the number of pages, you just come over here, it has like 0.2, just try to place it. So once you place, now all these particular text boxes will be of same size. So this height, like the position left, right, top, you want to adjust it. So you need to come to property list, and in the property list you will find an option left hand side, top, height, width, all these things you can just adjust over here. So once you do this and you want to change any font as such for this particular total pages or something, at the top you do have controls like bold, and apart from that you just come over here and then just try to place this particular thing, and you want any other thing also, everything on a blue color, you can just do that one, and you want to make this bold, you can just do it. So it is up to you how you want to design it. So all the controls will be there, simple as Word document, you can just change it. So once you change it, you just run, you click here, then it is going to show up. So one is title you place in each and every page that gets repeated, page numbers you get in, and apart from that, so what you do is, so here, I mean, we cannot do it, but in a real-time machine, what we do basically is in the page header, what is the other control which we'll be using mostly is, so we'll be using your client logo. So generally, in real time, you'll have a server. In that particular server, admin is going to put that images, and then they are going to give you the path of that image. So once they give you that particular path of the image, so just come to insert, and once you get into insert, again you have an option similar to text, similar to auto text, you do have an option called image. So select this particular image, and place at which place you want. So generally you place over here towards your left hand side. At the top you place in your particular logo, means say for example city logo, ICICI Bank logo and so on. So you just try to place that one and then it asks you to give you the path. So here you need to provide the path of your server. You have to provide the path of your server. So once you provide your path of the server and then click OK, then what happens is, so whenever you are running it, so it goes to that path and then it is going to bring the image or the client logo and then it is going to display here. It is going to display on each and every page at the top left hand side. And then generally you place title and this is what you place the other things. So, and page header, whatever controls you place, image is one control, or I mean static text, this is a text box, this is one control, and dynamic text like n pages or page number, right? You see ampersand, right? So wherever you see ampersand, that is a dynamic text. Wherever a normal one, so it is a text box. So you can place dynamic text, like you can place a static text in the page header section. So whatever you place in the page header, as I said, it gets repeated in each and every page at the top, each and every page at the top. Then moving on to the next one. So what is the purpose of the document header section, or why we use this document header section means, so whatever information you want to display, so you have displayed this title, you have displayed this all information like images, page numbers and so on. But if at all you want to display any such information before your first grid, say you want to give, there are multiple grids assume. Say for example, below this you do have supplier wise profit, item wise profit is there, supplier versus profit is there, another report. And apart from that, you do have another report which has region wise profit, another report which has month wise profit. So in the same document, assume you have placed 4 different reports here. So in that particular lines, what you can do is, in short, so you can provide title as profit analysis. You are just doing profit analysis across various subjects, across like various means supplier, item, region, and then month. So you want to analyze the profit. So then in short, I'm putting profit analysis, right? So of your particular project name you want, you can just do it, that particular project. And here before my first grid, I want to display a title which shows me item wise profit. So before your first grid, whatever information you want to repeat it, and that too only once, not it is going to repeat like your page header. So whatever control you place in document header, that is going to display only once before your first grid or before your detailed header section. So in the detailed header section, whatever grid you place, right, before your first grid, if you want any particular control to be repeated only once, then that control you are going to place in the document header section, in the document header section. So you just come over here, insert, then say for example text box, then do it. So that is one way. Or else already you see, say when say another particular control you want to copy paste, like as we do mostly, right? You can just do the same thing. You can just do a copy paste and then say for example, so you can just try to add up whatever information you want. Say for example item wise profit. So what it does is, before your first grid, it is going to, so it is going to display this information before your first grid. People are not talking, right? I mean, I request you to get on mute. So Lakshmi Pati or like others who are not talking, please go on mute. Okay, so item wise, like you want to do say profit analysis as such, so you can just provide the heading for this one. But generally, mostly, right, we don't use even document header section. So because it gets printed only once before your detail. So one thing you can place here, or the same thing what you can do is, you can just cut there, and then in the detail header section also, you place like this. Both of the things are same only. So either you place in document header or you place in the detailed header. So it is going to display only once before your first grid. So it is up to you how you want to design it. So you want to place in document header, there won't be any change. You want to place here, you can just do it. And once you run before your first grid, then it is going to show this information. And on a similar lines, you want to place another grid. So just try to understand here, there is an important concept and then this will be asked in an interview. You have placed your first grid and below that particular grid, you are just trying to place up the other grid. You are trying to place up your other grid, and in this particular grid, what you are doing is you are trying to analyze, say, region wise profit and then revenue. Then let's try to see what it is going to happen actually. I've just placed my item grid and below that I've placed my region grid, and you want to provide some naming as such here. You can just do it by again copying this one. Just try to copy here and where you want to place. Before every report you create, you want to just identify which one is starting where and so on, right? So for which what you can do is you can just try to place that particular control, and then here what is that you want to do? You want to do analysis based on the region. So in this way, all your grids, how many grids you want, that many grids you can place. So this particular grid might have region, month, profit, revenue, only one grid. But on your document, you can split this into multiple, as I have done region, profit, revenue, right? So what you can do is just below this, you can place one more grid which shows you month sales and profit, which shows you month sales profit. So just you can minimize this and place here one more grid which shows you month wise sales. And the same report you can just drag in, try to do supplier wise revenue, supplier wise unit price, unit sold, that in other one. So one report you create, using that one report in the document, you can create multiple grids. You can create multiple grids. It is up to you. So now what is the problem? Let's try to understand here. I placed my first grid and then I provided a proper naming to it. So now if you look at this one, just you ensure all your particular controls are towards the same thing, for which, right, what do we have to do is go to property list, just look at this particular left hand option, and then I want to make that left as 1. So here also just come over here. So whenever you design anything, you need to ensure that all these are in uniform. So here left I've done 1, and then here also left is 1, and then basically I want to make this one a left align, so center of center line. So I've done it. So now basically whenever you run it, right, it will be uniform actually. So once you place in, let me run and show you what is the problem here we face in. So I just for an example try to run in a PDF mode. So just try to save it. So if you look at this one, here you get a client logo in a real-time scenario. So wherein you're telling profit analysis, and here if you look, it is getting overwritten. You can just move this off a little bit left-hand side. So that is one observation. And item-wise profit is fine. Item-wise profit analysis. But when you scroll down, if you look at your report, the second report is getting overwritten with your first report. Yes or no? So did you observe that after your entire first grid is displayed, you don't see your second grid. Just try to see. So your first grid is showing up till item wise, unit sold and so on. But do you see any information as like region wise sales after it? So your intention was to repeat this particular report after your first grid, not you need to override this with your second grid. Right. In order to do that, right? So what exactly we need to do it, right? So what is that option we need to do in means? So just come to your design view, and now you understood that your first grid is getting overwritten with second grid, but that should not be the design in any case. So always your design should be you create first grid, and first grid should all display all the information, and then second grid has to start. It has to display all the information, then third grid and so on. So in order to do that, what you have to do is in the detailed header section, select this detailed header and try to insert another control. What is that another control? Go to insert, and then what you do is there is an option here. Just look at this one. Insert section above and then insert section below. So whether you want that region wise at the top or region wise at the bottom, it is up to you. So just I've selected this option, assume. So insert selection above. I just click this one. So what happened is at the starting above I said, right, above your first grid, whatever you have there, right? So just try to see here now. So above this item 1 at this particular place, just try to see whichever I am dragging, right, dragging up. So what it does basically internally, right, it is going to again segregate this section into two different things. So what does that mean is, so insert section is going to, this your entire detail header is one section, that is fine. But again in the detailed header you want to make some logical partitions as such. What you can do is you can just go for insert and then section above and then section below. You can just use them and then just try to create it. So I've just done that same thing. So I have a till 10. I've just made this one. So in the top grid, whatever information it has, right? So whatever numbers it can display. So or else I just want to even minimize it and then show you basically. So now I'm just trying to put as minimum as possible for this one. So just say for example I have bought here, and then what I'm doing is I have this space, and in my this particular space I'm just trying to place my everything. So region as well, month as well, and so on. And I'll show you whether it is getting overwritten or not. So I'll just place my first date, and then say for example in order to understand where which grid is starting, so I just put this particular title at my top of my first grid. So just try to place it. So here I just provide information, say for example month wise profit analysis or something. So once you do it, just save it. So what is the difference to earlier report to this report is, in the earlier report we didn't had this segregation, as in here whatever you are seeing, right? So just below this insert section, this section was not there in earlier case. Having this section, what is that advantage means, so never it is going to overwrite your two different data sets. So whenever you place more than one data set on your document, you need to make use of that section above and section below. You need to make use of section above and section below. So let's try to see that one. So now if you look at this one, month wise profit analysis, and after your entire grid is done, so region wise monthly, so you just see a region wise month, same particular report, the first grid is getting continued, and once it particular first grid is completed, so you see here now item wise profit analysis, which is your second grid that is starting up. And then if you hit one more enter, even the setting comes to the next page. So if you look at this specific thing here, so it is going to show you the item wise. So in this way, one report will not get overwritten with the other one. And you see another problem which we haven't fixed is this particular thing. So in order to fix that, like a very simple approach, you need to go to that particular document and get into the design view of that, and wherever you have this particular off, right, so just try to move that towards your left hand side. That's it. So wherever you have that off, so if you are confusing like which one is which control and so on, right? So what is that the other thing you can do, right? You just come to the same thing, come to property list. In the property list, just try to see here now at the top you have various options here. So just select this particular option here, document structure. So you need to just click on document structure, and it shows up your entire things, whatever you have placed in document, all that controls are going to pop up. So just select this particular thing, text, so it came here. Then you have, say for example, text 2, which is your page number. Then text 3, that is your, like say for example, you can see here again test 3, and you can just provide a proper naming as well, test 4. Now the control is at off actually, so you just drag that one little bit, then so this is your other control, which what I'm doing is I'm just having some space as such. So just try to place it. So now you have page 1 of 3, page 2 of 3, page 3 of 3 and so on actually. So once that is done, you can just save it. Now if you run it, you don't see that particular overwriting problem. Okay. So now clear on page header, document header, detail header. Detail header, not only this, you can place other things as well. Like apart from one grid, two grids, you can just come over here. Again, you can just come over here, insert, then section below, try to add one more grid. Insert section below, one more grid and so on. So in this way, you can just do multiple things over here. So any questions on these three sections?
No, sir.
Okay, now moving on to the other different sections, like what is the purpose of this sections basically. So now similar like page header, you do have a page footer section. So whatever information you want to display at each and every page at the bottom, each and every page at the bottom, say like copyrights or this information is confidential or like please contact so and so number and so on. So you want to provide such information, you just come over here and then you just try to place that particular information. So whichever you want to display at the bottom of each and every page. So this document is confidential and it belongs to so and so company, that confidential or copyright information. So you are just going to provide at the bottom. So what it does is whatever information you provide here, that gets repeated in each and every page at the bottom, each and every page at the bottom. So generally I'm saying in most of the document you see three different sections used widely. So one is your page header, the other one is page footer. Page header means the same thing, whatever I said, the client logo, the title of the document, and then the page numbers. And at the bottom, the copyrights or the confidentiality information. And apart from that, uh, you make use of a detailed header section, as in that detailed header section you place all your grids you place in your detailed header. These are the three sections which use 99%, and probably rest these are optional, because whatever you want to repeat at only once, you place that in the document header section. And similarly you just come down in the basically document footer section. So whatever you want to display only once above your copyrights. So about your this particular thing means last page. I'm not talking about every page. Before your last page of this particular copyright, whatever it is displaying last page, before that you want to display some information. You are going to place that in the document footer, and whatever information you place in document footer, that gets repeated only once. That gets repeated only once. And detailed footer is again the same thing. Above your document footer, you want some information to be displayed, then you make use of a detailed footer section. So these three sections, right? So generally I haven't used in any of my reporting in whatever experience I have, or no one uses it basically. So document footer is on the last page, you want to display some information you write in. So detailed footer is before your document footer, you want to display some information, you are going to place that in the detailed footer section. And apart from that, in the detailed section, so now what is the detailed section means? So in the detailed section, so what you can do is you can just try to place columns from different reports. So one thing is they'll ask in an interview this question, can we place grids in the detailed section? So you just try to drag and drop your grids. It doesn't allow. It doesn't allow. Or else when you try to place your grid in the other section, like detailed header section, you place your grid and then just try to drag, say for example, supplier from, say for example, one report, and then just try to drag this profit from other thing. It doesn't allow, basically. It doesn't allow. So generally whenever you create a grid, so you just try to place columns from single report or single data set. But in the detailed header section, you do have that flexibility wherein you can just drag region from one particular thing, supplier, say you can just drag your, say for example, supplier from other particular column. Say you can just drag unit price from another thing, and then say for example revenue from other things. So in this way you can just drag columns across reports. So be it two, be it multiple n number of things. But again when you run, right, you see a lot of documentation. This region supplier combination, it has a cross join and there will be a lot of duplicate or redundant data that gets displayed, whatever information you put in the detail section. So the detail section, you can place columns. You can just place columns from different data sets at one place. But having said that, so you can place it, but it is going to show a lot of duplicate data, which again will not be helpful for the users. So in that lines, so we don't use even the detail section as well. So generally we'll be using three different sections. One is page header. As I said, page header, this is the controls mainly we will use in, and then the detailed header section where you place all your particular grids, and then we make use of a page footer section. So generally in an interview, they ask you what are the different sections we have. You need to tell all these particular sections, and then they may ask you in which section you will place your data sets or grids. So you'll place in the detailed header section. They may ask you as per interview, this is a standard question I've seen. So can we place grids into the detail section? So you just try to drag detail section, any grid you try to drag, right? You cannot place it. So we cannot place grids in the detail section. So now they may ask you, okay, so what is the purpose of detail? So you can just try to drag columns from different data set and then place in the detail section. Place in the detail section. So once you place columns from different reports in the detail section, it is going to show a lot of duplicate data. Lot of duplicate data. Yeah. So that is where I'm in all these particular sections and three different sections. But what we have to be, understood here is like once you create a document, you run in a PDF, HTML, and then a flash mode. That is one thing. And the next point we need to know is, okay, say for example, you want to highlight something, like say if revenue value is greater than X, then you want to highlight that particular red color, or you, in other words, you can just have the thresholds defined. Basically you want to have your thresholds defined, uh, the conditional formatting and so on defined, basically for which, right? So generally how you define your thresholds is once you select in, if you look at your normal report, right, you go to data menu and then you get an option called thresholds. But generally in case of a document, there will not be one grid, there will be multiple grids. There will be multiple grids on the document. So for that specific thing, how to add thresholds to that particular grid means, So what is that is, so you need to just come over here, then simply edit your grid. So you are now, I mean, so this is a grid basically. You just select outside, you select this one, and the control, I mean, you this particular thing, now the grid got selected. So once this particular grid got selected, just come over here. This is an edit. So you just select this, wherein you get into edit mode of this grid. So you just come back again. So it is a normal. So either you come over here, select this one, which takes into edit mode of the grid, or else you just double click that one. In the middle, you double click. Even that takes you to the edit mode. So once you are in edit mode, then you can apply the thresholds, whatever you have applied for your normal reports, right? The same thing you can do it. So you just come over here, click on this particular edit. So once you edit, just try to see, go to data menu. Now see thresholds. So what does that mean basically is, so options are going to change. So you want to hide any specific column also, right? So, or we have seen something called custom banding, if you remember. So the custom banding was there as part of your, or let me show you one thing. So let me run your report, and in the report, say for example, you have this particular data and then thresholds. Directly you get this threshold, and just beside your data, you have a grid option, and then you can go to grid options, and then we have done something called custom banding during our particular sessions basically. The same thing you want to do here. So first of all, you don't see that particular grid option itself. You don't see that particular grid options here. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so now if you look at this specific thing, right? So you want to add thresholds, or you want to add custom banding, or you want to hide some specific column, like even though profit is there, you don't want to display profit to your customers and so on, right? So all that specific thing, what you can do is, so just click on this particular edit, and once you click on this specific edit, so just to go to grid and sorry, data, and then you have threshold option. You can just select it, and then you can just choose the range, how you want to do it, how you have done it, right? Click on new, and then start here, add a qualification, whatever qualification, then you can just highlight how you have done in your what I mean normal data sets, right? On the reports, for how you have developed the thresholds, all those things you can done. But only the thing you need to understand is that thresholds will be enabled when you edit your grid. When you edit your grid, then only the thresholds will be enabled. So that is the first point you need to understand. And the second point you need to understand is, so you want to hide some column like profit and so on. So by default, you don't get that grid menu. So that grid menu also you get once you edit this, and then get to grid at the top here, and then just get to this options, grid menu, and then get to options here. Once you come to this particular options here, so just go over here, and then instead of general tab, just to go to your columns and rows. Once you go to your columns and rows, you have fit to content. So here you have an option called fit to content, fit to window, and then you have an option called fixed. So this particular thing fixed, and then basically whatever you don't want. I don't want profit assume. So profit by default is showing some pixel. So even though you have a column on the grid, still you want to hide from the user. So you just come over here profit and make this particular pixel size 0, click OK. So once you do it, this grid is having profit, but it will not be visible to your users. You run this particular document, always user sees item wise unit sold only. He cannot see this particular profit until you enable it. And how do you enable it is you just come over here, get to grid, then you go for options, columns and this one, and generally go to that particular profit and say for example you want to have the same particular width 4.2, so you can just go over here 0. Say for example 4 to whatever you want, you can just do it. So once you do it, then it comes up. So when we use that option mostly is, say for example you have item and one of the item or one of the customer name is very big and half of the name is getting displayed and half of the name is getting truncated, but your user want to use the complete name actually of that item or that customer which has like more length. So in order to do that, just get into edit, the same option actually, insert. When you are hiding, you are making that as 0, right? But when you want to display, what you can do is instead of this one, if some of the value is getting truncated or something, what you can do is you can just come over here and then just place this one as a 1 pixel, then click OK. So once you do it, now this particular size of this particular thing, item, right, has been increased. Now even though it has a big name, it is going to display. It is going to display. So that particular grid option is very commonly used. So why we use this means, so you just come over here. First, initially it will be this one, fit to content. You just come over here and based on you want to increase a column size, then come over here, increase that particular inches. You want to hide any column, you can just go over there and then what you can do is select that one. I don't want metrics for a minute, so I'm just making that 0 and click OK. So you don't see that particular metrics word. Directly the user sees item and then unit sold and profit. They don't see that particular header called metrics. So in this way you hide a column, and this is also very commonly asked question, how to hide a column on a grid. So you just edit it and then where you go to grid menu, options, under the grid menu options, go to fixed, choose any specific column, make the pixel size is 0, make the pixel size is 0. So is an option. Okay. So this is how you apply thresholds on a grid. So you just edit it, go to data menu, thresholds, and then in order to hide a column, you need to again edit it, go to grid, and within the grid, you need to go to options, and in the options, go to columns and rows, and then choose option fixed and adjust the pixel size. So any questions till now? On any point we have discussed, right? So we have discussed like most of the basic things. So any questions till now, guys?
I'm good, Srinivas.
Clear.
So shall I continue for some more time? Like I mean another 20 minutes. Is that fine?
Yeah, okay.
Guys, you're comfortable, right? For next 20 minutes to continue. Sorry, I mean, so whoever talk, I didn't hear anyone voice.
Sir, continue.
Okay, so now yeah, that is on applying say thresholds, then hiding a column on your grid. And apart from that, say for example now Mm, and just let me tell you. So generally when you create up a grid, you have an option wherein to have your particular report displayed in a graphical format. So here basically if you look at this particular report, once you develop any report, you don't have an option called graph view actually. You do have PDF, you do have HTML, and then you have a flash, but you don't have any specific thing called as a graphical view. So on that specific lines, right? So how to make a grid into graph means select your grid first and then simply just right click on that, and once you right click, then you get into option called as view mode. Once you get into view mode, there is an option graph and then a grid graph. So you need to get into, I mean now currently you are in grid, you need to just switch into the graph view. So in order to make any grid on a document to a graph view, so what is that you need to do is by default you'll have that in a grid view. So from the grid view you need to select that grid, right click. Once you right click, then you get into option called view mode. In the view mode you need to select a graph, and by default whenever you make that into graph, by default any graph or any grid will show in the bar graph. It is going to show in the bar graph, but your requirement is such that you want to display information. You want to display inf you want to display information, right? So you want to display information in some other graphical format and so on. So for which you need to just click on edit here, and once you do that edit, right click on this area, then you get that options graph type. So you want to say analyze the information on this particular say for example the graph. So instead of, so this, okay fine, so you don't have Adobe Flash Player also here. So fine, so let me run this, and now you see say that information, right? Whatever we have central, northeast, southwest, why this many bars? Okay, so let me edit our grid and then just come back here. So now, I mean, generally the user doesn't want to see in multiple things like multiple pages, one simple information, right? Okay, so let me first, I mean, so I delete say other thing and let you know on like couple of graphs. So I'm just trying to increase the space as the space was less. So it was displaying in multiple pages, splitting across multiple pages. So what I'm doing is, okay, so say your region wise, say for example, say you want to display some message like region wise profit percentage report you want to show up in a pie graph or in a bar graph, whatever it is. So just try to drag your particular report, and then you want one attribute, one metric assume. So slowly when you start, right, anything start with one attribute, one metric, and try to add other controls and run it and see how it is behaving. So for my thing, I've just tried added one attribute, one metric, and once it is done, so just right click and then right, so just go to view mode and then just get into graphical view, and this particular size of the graph, right, so you need to get 8 different bars as such. So I'm just trying to say for example increase the size of this particular bar space, and once I do it, let me save this. So once you save it, try to run this now and let's see how it shows up. So we have something in our detail section which is getting duplicated. So just come over here first, delete the information in your detail section, and for a minute, right, I just don't want say any other thing. I just want to understand on my say graph, which generally, right, it gets displayed in one single page. Okay, so let me save this for a minute. Try to right click, create up a document, and let me choose my report, say demo document, region wise analysis, and try to place me my particular control over there. So just come over here. This I'm trying to create the same thing. So I feel that particular document, right? So just right click, remove from grid, right click over there, view mode, just make that graph, and for a minute save this. Try to run this. Okay, I mean it is, I what is the problem I feel is like because now we don't have that particular the software installed actually, so that is a major concern I think. So probably tomorrow once we have that, I'll show you again this one. So what it does basically is, so it shows you here only the complete information, and basically if you look here it shows central south, so it shows all the regions, and you want something called legends here. Legends, what does legend means, that also I'll show you. That is again one important thing as per your graphs. So whenever you create up a graph, so what is that I'm doing is, let me try to increase that size, and then what I'm doing is, so once it is done, so let me just right click, go to graph options, and I'll tell you what are these options. Some of the things already show legend is there marked. Okay, so just try to save this. So let me do one thing. So just right click, graph type, move into horizontal, click OK. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now if you look at the horizontal view, basically now you can see all that specific things, central, mid-Atlantic, and so on. So using this, right, you understand, okay, northeast has more sales, then comes my south, and so on. But each of these particular things, central you want to make a different color, mid-Atlantic a different color. So all these things you want to have a different color code as such instead of all blue, right? It doesn't make sense to have all the blues over there. Just edit this, right click, you want to change that color code. You need to get into, you want to change the graph type, you need to go to graph type and then change from pie graph to line graph to bar graph and so on, for which you make use of this one. Graph options you are going to use in order to change the properties of that one. For example, in this particular scenario, I want to change the colors. So in order to change the colors, right, so I just go to the first option, that is options. Under that I select color and then we had only one color. So let me put some color. So what should be the first region? What should be the third region? What should be the fourth region and so on, right? So all this specific thing. So what you can do is you can just try to assign some color codes. So based on say how many regions you do have and so on, right? So you just on whatever say color code you just try to apply, it is going to show up actually. So and you want to say still analyze even better, I'll tell you what else you can do. So just in this way, just try to add some colors. Just save this. So your HTML mode is not supporting. Fine guys, I mean we'll see once we have this Adobe Flash Player installed, because now as we don't have like I mean the PDF or like the Adobe Flash Player wherein we require them actually to see how your dashboard looks and so on, because it is not supporting a lot of features like you have to get legends are not coming, colors are not getting displayed. So if you have that, then probably you can just give it a try, because all these controls, right? So these legends we cannot discuss when once we don't have that software, then these colors are not getting reflected. And the same thing, these legends, the text boxes, the series, all these things, right? So we can just try to understand when we have that particular software, or else graph type, go to pi. Let's see whether I mean at least this particular graph is going to work or not. Uh, so here I just click on edit, and yeah, I mean instead of having this, right, so I want to show a single pie. So let me do that. Just try to run this. So now, so here also you see pie, but region names, whatever region name here you have, right, this legend is not getting displayed. Fine, then we'll just wait guys, then I mean no point in continuing like this. So let me ask the admin to